Welcome to Real Talk. I'm your host, Pastor Ed King, taken from the book of Romans 10:17, where it says, faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God. Praise God for another day and another, I forgot what I was going to say, honor and privilege to bring the program to you. Milagro, he is not a guest anymore. He is a co-host or host, whatever you want to call it. Welcome back, man. Good to see you.
All right.
Yeah, first of all, before we get started, like I said, I love these programs because sometimes we never know what we're going to ask each other, so we don't know. I got a question for him.
Not sometimes. We never know.
Yeah, we never. Yeah, we know. First of all, how you like that whooping that Hope Center put on y'all the other night?
Man, come on. How many times we beat them?
They put that whooping on y'all, man, and kind of humbled y'all a little bit, huh?
I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
I'm glad they did.
We not played, but Milagro coaches in the Hope Center's junior or high school basketball league down there. It is team has been dominating everybody.
The best team in the league.
How it goes, you ride high so long, and then until somebody smack you around, and then they bring you back.
Oh, is that what happened to you?
No, I don't have. Yeah, but how you been doing?
Oh man, I'm surviving.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Doing good. Glad to be back. Y'all held it down pretty good over the last couple of weeks. Yeah, thank y'all for. I told them I appreciate them. You know, with our family being away, we had a loss of a family member, and so we wasn't able to be here in town. But those guys, they kept it rolling. What do you want to talk about? I'll pick on you. I got some thoughts on some things that we were talking about the other day, and I want to share with you and especially in our podcast some of those questions. But I'll let you go first.
What I want to talk about is how do you stay so consistent and motivated after dealing with youth so long?
Oh, that's a good question.
And how many and was there ever a point that you just wanted to walk away because so many of them broke your heart?
You know, oh boy, that's heavy. You gonna start with the heavy.
Man, you asked what I want to know.
I thought you was gonna follow up with how y'all lost the game.
No, man.
My wife told me one time there was a season, and I pray that season never comes back again. But there was a season where the guys that we were working with were starting to be killed in the lifestyle that they were leading, and it seemed like there was a funeral every other month. You know, there's one particular summer, them guys were dying not through gang violence and that kind of thing. And I had got to the point to where I noticed emotionally. My wife told me, she said, you become emotionally hard. And at the time, I didn't see it, but what I couldn't communicate to her at the time was that I didn't know how to navigate getting close to a kid, and that kid later go in the street, you know, and get killed, or they kill someone. I think the emotional part of that, man, I was empty, and so there was that period where it was like, okay, I can't keep doing this, but then it was like, where am I gonna go? I mean, it's like I thought about it, so, okay, where can I go where I wouldn't care about them? You know, there's one particular kid, I won't say his name for the sake of his family, but I had got so worried and concerned about him that, I mean, I had to literally turn the TV off because I didn't want to hear the news, because I just knew, you know, like the devil was tormenting me in my mind that, hey, we gonna get him. And then so that fear of turning on the news and so and so has been gunned down or whatever, I had to, what it forced me to do, it forced me to really return to the Lord and just say, hey, God, I can't do this without you, because you and I see the same thing in you. Some people work with kids just for the show of saying, okay, I'm doing something. Other people work with kids because, hey, one, I see myself in these kids, and two, I really, really, really want this kid to make it. And it's like when you do that, man, it's if there's no fanfare, if there's nobody around, you gonna be there doing that. Yeah, you know, in the wee hours of the morning, if they get in trouble, you're gonna be there. You know, if they go to court, you're gonna be there. You know, to where the joyous part, when they do good things, that they eventually get married or they do graduate, you know, you won't be there for all of that too. But there's a double side of the coin. You know, you love them in the good, but you also, in this line of work, you share in the pain too. So I don't know if that answered it, but
no, yeah. I truly understand.
And why you keep coming back for people like us, I'll say people like us, because everybody can't do this. Everybody don't have the heart to love on kids, and it's a calling from God. Once you identify, Lord, this is what you call me to do, then in the good and the bad, you keep coming back. Yeah.
See, honestly, man, how I maneuver through it, because I'm at that breaking point right now to where, like, do I just go back to production work and don't worry about this? Or
you can't
stay down in the path. But the only thing that keep me going for real is something you told me a while ago, and it actually came from Pastor Todd. I just look at it like they on the 10-year plan.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of kids, when you talk to them and you're there for them and you try to instruct them, you want them to get it just like that. Hey man, if I spend a week with you, by next week you should get this. It don't work like that. A lot of kids, when I heard that, it kind of freed me, because I was that, okay, Lord, what am I doing to where, I'll say Bobby, where Bobby ain't picking it up fast. I remember Ty telling me, he said, Ed, for some of these kids, they're going to be on the 10-year plan. I said, well, what is the 10-year plan? It's going to take them a while to get it. But do you know, looking back on that now, I have guys that come up to me, guys that I thought would, man, I know you going to jail, or I know you ain't going to, they come back and they say, man, I remember the things that you shared and the things that you taught us. They were that 10-year plan kid that, that I got it, that you get a chance to see, Yeah. But my encouragement for you is that, the Bible says, the race is not given to the swift, nor to the strong, but to the one that endures until the end. And in a lot of ways, God is, you're just getting started. But what I'm already starting to see is that God has given you his heart for them. So even if you went back to whatever the most glamorous job you can think of, if God has called you to this and he's put this in your heart, you'll be way over there doing whatever, but your heart will always be over here.
Man, it been like that. If I call my wife right now, she'll tell you. I always told her I wanted to work with kids. I don't like working with adults. But see, the challenge
I'm starting to get that way.
Me, I know that most of these kids are on 10-year plan, but I'm dealing with probation. I only got 60 days.
Tell the audience about what you've learned since doing that. I didn't understand. I never really understood how the probation part of that work with the kids. Tell us about that a little bit.
Like, as far as what?
Like when a kid, a 15-year-old kid gets in trouble, and instead of giving them a lot of jail time, they'll put them on probation, right? So then they come to you, right? Okay, how does that work? What happens after that?
So me, I'm a community youth coach. And basically, it's just like a mentorship through the state, because a lot of these kids, as you know, they have no positive male or female in there, because it's girls and boys, but I only deal with boys.
Okay.
And it's but the trick to it is, all right, essentially I'm a mentor. These kids are on probation, so it's goal oriented.
Okay.
But you're talking about kids with no structure and no male, and I really have no authority.
What do you mean when you say you don't have authority? What do you mean by that?
I can't violate their probation. I can't make them go to school. I can't even make them get in the car with me.
So if you can't, so why would they be motivated to listen to you then?
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's the trick about it. It's like, I know these kids are on the 10-year plan, but probation don't understand that, and they don't care, and I got to reach goals. So the first, I try to break through them in the first 3 days.
Okay.
Like, I have to show them I am who I say I am. I really want to see you succeed. And bro, you got to help yourself. Nobody could help you. And that's the challenge. I have to try to do that in a 2 to 5 day window. Because I know I might be with you 60 days.
So building that trust, it's hard to build that kind of trust in that short amount of time like that.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. what have you what's been no name? I know you don't have to give names. What has been the most discouraging story or kid that you've been with so far? You've been doing it for what, almost 9 months now, haven't
Yeah.
you? What's been the most discouraging part about that? When you look at it, the hopelessness. We talk about hopelessness in the lives of the kids. That phrase that Ty used to use, that Brenda Council quote: "To the one that lives in hopelessness, consequences mean nothing." If you're hopeless, why would you be motivated to care to do the right thing?
Every case I got been heartbreaking. Because I mean, I see the change when they with me, but you only with me maybe 20, 25 hours out of the month.
That's tough.
Like I got some kids, I know when I schedule an appointment with them, that's gonna be the only day of the week they go to school.
Wow. You told me about a kid that missed 20, what did you say? He in the last couple of years.
No. He hasn't been to school 20 days in a year. But you know the sad part now?
That's crazy.
I could tell you about 4 of them kids. I just visited one yesterday.
So what's the mindset? Okay, two things. If you tell me I'm talking too much, you let me know. Okay, what's the mindset of a kid that's just haven't been in school like that? What is their mindset? Like, I quit. I can't do it.
Yeah. Some of them, like I've been with 2 kids that's 17 or older, and they literally have 1 to 3 credits, and they've been in school 3-4 years in high school. So it's like at that point, they 17, 18, they're like, why am I trying? Yeah, they could get all their credits this year. Then they're technically just a sophomore. So they know they're so far behind.
And then the further you get behind, the more hopeless it
Less
seems
motivated.
like. You go, okay, I get it.
Yeah, for what? What am I doing this for?
Yeah.
Why am I getting up every morning? I know I'm not going to graduate.
So when the kids that you work with, when they aren't going to school, what are they doing?
Most of them nothing or getting high. Oh man, so many. I ain't gonna lie. I met so many junkies, man. I'm like, dang.
Teenage junkies.
Oh my goodness. It's like, dang. You know, I'm used to kids in my era. Man, we was trying to get some money. They don't even want no money, and I'm scared to give them money because I know what they're gonna do with it. That's all they want to do. They looking for their next high. It's like,
what I mean, obviously, if a kid is at home, they're not staying in their own place. What's mom and dad's role, or what are the parents doing?
I would like to bring a parent on or two. What could they do? In this day and age, what could they do? I wish I had time to call this mom. She's called the police on her son every day last week. Now, guess what? She got a court date she has to go to.
Okay, you lost me. What?
You have no power. They took all the parental rights. The parent can't do anything. You can't whoop them. You go to jail. You can't put them out because they're not adults to 18. You go to jail. So she literally, he runs away every night. So she told him, stay outside. You know what he did? Stayed out till 7 o'clock in the morning, knocked on the door. She didn't let him in. He called the police on her. The police told her, you're neglecting him if you leave him outside. He's still a juvenile. You have to let him in the house.
So okay, that would be that's frustrating. What would you say to a parent that turned on the TV and she just heard you going through the exact same thing that you just said, and they are frustrated? What advice would you give that parent that's listening to the program?
That's why I don't knock none of the parents. When you up against the ropes, let them crash out.
Okay,
I'm gonna tell them leave it alone. I'm not gonna. If the law make it to where I can't force my son to go to school, I guess he got that option.
So you say let them crash out. Okay, explain that. What do you mean by that?
You know what? I gotta let life teach you. I gotta hope you make it to that 10 years because you know what? I was the same student. I ain't care. After crazy part, I listened to you. Actually, at the time in your life, you was that same student. If that English teacher didn't approach you, everybody was gonna let you slide.
Yeah.
And let's be real. I don't care how good of a parent you think you are. None of us is on it like that. You don't know who your kid is when they leave that door.
Yeah, you said that before. I can't picture you being like that.
My mom couldn't either.
Yeah. When you said that the trouble that you used to get into, don't get me wrong. I mean, I just couldn't picture you. I couldn't picture you being that way.
You know how many times I heard you say that about different people? You never know who they. Some of the things you did. You think your mom could ever picture you doing that?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah. But and we talked about this before too. What was the turning point for you? I mean, obviously you're married, you're successful, you have a kids, and you're loved by your family. You have people in the community love you, your friends love you. What was it? What turned for you? What started to turn for you to where, because like I said, you haven't always been in this field, giving back to others. What was the turning point for you?
I always have been giving back to others, just maybe in different ways.
Yeah.
But
I got another question for you too. But go ahead and answer that one first. What was the turning point for you?
I just kept waking up.
You kept waking up. But didn't you say that you thought one time, or you and your friends thought that y'all wouldn't live to be old?
Yeah, we didn't want to.
Why? Tell me. We're gonna talk about that on the podcast too with Chris.
So let me tell you something, and this is why I relate with these kids from the school aspect to life. Once you see, like I was 12 when a close friend of mine died. Once a kid experienced close death, they're not a kid anymore. Most kids think they're gonna live forever. They can't fathom death.
Right,
but when you see somebody your age in that casket, y'all think we kids. Y'all don't know our clock is ticking.
Wow.
We're a whole different type of, like, we don't even value tomorrow. We're just trying to make it through today.
So that's interesting. So if I'm mom and I'm dad, I'm watching this, and that's just happened to my 15-year-old son. One of his friends just died. How do I help him? And he's sitting in his room. He's not talking. He has that hopelessness spirit on him. How do you? What do you say? What do you do? How do you help him?
You know what? You got to pay real close attention, and you gotta man or woman up. Y'all always look at us as our babies. Well, let me tell you something. When you see somebody you love in that casket, your baby died. If they are 10 and above, your baby died. And do not let him love that boy, because revenge is the most powerful thing in the streets.
Oh, okay. We had talked about that too. Where does it come from? But when this younger generation now, they are advocates for, I gotta revenge the death of.
You know where it come from?
Where does it come from?
Home. You was taught it. I was taught it. We all was taught it. What your mom say if somebody hit you?
Hit them back.
Okay.
Well, back then you could hit them back.
All right, but we got hit.
Yeah.
The same rule apply.
But you ain't hitting them back now.
It don't matter.
Yeah.
One of mine, 10 of yours.
So when does it ever end?
Never do. Till when your time is up.
Wow.
Because now, guess what? I go kill this boy. If he had a baby, his son gonna hear about this his whole life. And you know what that boy gonna be fathoming his whole life? Killing the dude that killed his dad.
Killed his father. Yeah.
And even the boy, one of the boys I was just telling about, who mom kept. And the crazy part, they just dropped him off my case. My last day with him was the 31st. But I've been with him the last 3 days. I don't even get paid for it. But you know what? He's so criminal minded, and it's sad. Never grew up in the ghetto. Don't know nothing. He want to be down so bad. I was talking to him and I told him, man, you know what? You don't value your life. You don't value your freedom. You don't value nothing but being accepted. I said, bro, you're going to be a broke bum who's forgotten about. And then he said, man, I do want to be accepted. But the very first day I met him, he told me he was a follower. I respected that because that was the truth. Every trouble he's got in, never been his own trouble. And everybody he hang around with, throw him under the bus, but he saved them. And he don't, I try to get him to see that picture so much. And he told me, we riding. He said, man, I seen my mom get choked out when I was 14. And every day I visualized myself killing this dude. He done did his research. He know where to do, work and everything. So I had to pray for him because I wouldn't be surprised if I turned to the news and I see it.
He did something like that. That's heavy. So, okay, we got 5 minutes. How do you take care of yourself, man, in the midst of all of that? You asked me that earlier, and I remember, and still do, how much harder I had to invest back in my own heart. How do you do that, working in the field?
See, you about a little over 3 decades in it. I'm just getting in it, so it's still a power struggle. That's why I'm really at the. Do I walk away, or do I continue? Yeah, I'm willing to help kids, but being against the window of time I got and the type of kids I'm dealing with, it's a little difficult.
It's a lot different, way different. Because when we started out, we had the kids; they always came to us. You know, at the Hope Center, you know, you throw basketball out and you have food, the kids will always come. Your situation and dealing now, and I think you once said this to me, kids aren't kicking the doors down to come in places like the Hope Center Boys Club anymore. That, you know, the kid that I want to get Bobby off the street. If Bobby's out here being destructive, living that hopeless lifestyle, for guys like us, we want those guys around because we know if he's here spending time with us, then it's less likely he's out there being destructive, doing stupid things. But guys like that ain't kicking the doors down to come in.
Check this out though. After this, man, you could go ride around the streets. Nobody's in the streets. The streets right here.
Wow.
Streets handheld. They could be in school. They could be in their room. They could be anywhere. They could be in church. Thugging.
Yeah.
All you got to do is type. Whoever typed the most violent thing is the hardest guy now.
That's crazy. How do you compete with that?
That's why they're not kicking the doors down. You got to compete with Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's you said that before. How do you survive for those that are in school, how do you compete with that? If you want to see a teenager go completely crazy,
take their phone.
Try to take their phones from them.
Try to take their phone.
But our parents are saying, okay, if I'm listening to Mr. Spencer and he's in the field of that line of work and he's struggling with it, there ain't no hope for me then.
Now the struggle is I got a time window.
Okay.
You got their whole life. But I tell you what, fighting against this technology, I can challenge you. Nobody know whose their kids is. Information is coming at them fast, rapidly.
Yeah.
And they know so much. Yeah. You think you know what your kid know. You think you're smarter than them. Man, I know I'm not smarter than my son. So I would say
because he's open to things that just even 20 years ago you were never exposed to.
Oh yeah, you gotta humble yourself. And you have to let them know you are just a human. You flesh like they flesh. I don't know everything. I don't want you to put dad on the pedestal. Only advantage I got over you is experience.
Your life experience.
That's it.
Yeah. Wow.
But he know how to type better than me, read better than me, everything. So I got to come to him.
So when and we talk about this too. So what's a father to do?
Humble yourself. Humble yourself, and you gotta be real with these kids. It's no do as I say anymore. It's you gotta be what you say. Don't try to, just because you parent, they not acting like you perfect. But if you want to carry yourself like you perfect, you'll be a fraud to them kids. And that's how I prove myself to them within 3 days. Brother, I only know what I know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna fake it. What I know is what I know. I'm here to help you. And I'm open to what you say, but I'm gonna call a spade a spade. If you're playing games, you're playing games.
Yeah.
But if you got a point, you got a point.
Wow, that's crazy. Parents, we want to once again encourage you as much as we can that if I'm hearing you right, regardless of where your kid is, you can't give up on them. And it's like times have changed, most definitely. But they used to talk about a village, the importance of having a village of people to help support, raise, take care of, lead and guide your kid. I think that's even more important now that you have a village of people that will invest back in your kid. What one has, the other one may not have. But man, we got to pick this up again next week. Our time is up. 30 seconds. You want to close this out?
Yeah, you just got to be open-minded. You got to be willing to hear people out and respect work 2 ways. These kids don't respect nobody who don't respect them. And if you want respect, you got to give it. I don't care if you're the parent.
Until next week, we walk by faith, not by sight.